So, these big AI models, large language models, are amazing, right? But to make them really work for your business, you've got to connect them to what your company actually knows. So, let's dive in and see how we can turn a generic, off the shelf AI into your company's most valuable expert. Right? You've got this brilliant AI assistant. It knows everything about history, science, you name it. But ask it about your business. Say, how did we do on sales last quarter? And you get nothing. It has no idea. These models have basically read the entire public internet, but they are completely blind to your internal world. That's the gap we're going to close today. The easiest way to wrap your head around this is with an analogy. I want you to picture your AI as this brilliant librarian. This person has read every book, every article, every website ever published. A total genius. But their knowledge literally stops at the front door of your company's private library. And what does that private library look like? Well, for pretty much every company out there, about 80 to 90% of it is just a messy archive. We're talking unstructured data, PDFs, PowerPoint decks, emails, Slack messages, you name it. It's an absolute goldmine of information, but it's not exactly organized in a way our librarian can use it. So our first job is to basically become an architect. We have to take that messy, disorganized archive and build a brand new, perfectly organized library that's designed specifically for our AI librarian. Honestly, this part is the foundation for everything else that follows. The process for building this new library breaks down into 4 key steps. First, we extract all the raw text out of those documents. Then we clean up all the mess. After that, we chunk it into smaller, more digestible pieces. And finally, we embed it, which is where a little bit of AI magic comes in. Let's walk through each one. Okay, this cleaning step, it's absolutely crucial. You cannot skip it. AI models have this funny habit of amplifying any issues in your data, so tiny little errors can become huge problems down the line. We have to be really meticulous here, getting rid of duplicate files, fixing typos, standardizing things, and stripping out all the useless noise, like page numbers or email signatures. It all boils down to that classic saying, garbage in, garbage out. And don't just take my word for it. As one developer put it, the success of your entire AI system really hinges on how well you prepare your data right here at this stage. So, once everything is sparkling clean, we chunk it. Think about it. You can't just hand a 500-page user manual to the AI and expect it to read it all at once. It has a limited attention span, what we call a context window. So chunking is like tearing that huge manual into individual, meaningful paragraphs or sections that the AI can actually process and understand. And that brings us to the final, and I gotta say, the most magical step of this whole process, embedding. This is where we create a special kind of index for our new library. But instead of organizing everything by keywords like a search engine from the 90s, this index organizes all those chunks by what they actually mean. Now, the technical term for this magic is creating an embedding. We're basically converting each chunk of text into a long string of numbers. It's called a vector that captures its true meaning, its semantic essence. This is the secret sauce that lets the AI find the right info even if your question doesn't use the exact same words as the document. All right, so we've built the perfect library. It's clean, it's organized, it's ready to go. But our brilliant librarian is still just sitting there at their desk. So let's move on and see how we give them a superpower, a super fast research assistant. This assistant is the real key to making it all work. When you ask a question, the assistant doesn't even bother the librarian at first. Instead, it zips into our brand new library, uses that magic index to find the most relevant chunks of information. Think of them like little cheat sheets, and then it hands those cheat sheets to the librarian along with your original question. Now, the librarian has the perfect context to give you a perfect, fact-based answer. This whole process, the assistant retrieving the information and then giving it to the AI librarian to generate an answer, is called retrieval augmented generation, or as everyone calls it, RAG. RAG has quickly become the industry standard way to ground an AI in your specific data. It dramatically cuts down on errors, and it keeps the AI's knowledge totally up to date. So a basic RAG system is already a massive game changer, but we can make our research assistant even smarter. Let's take a look at a few tricks that upgrade them from just smart to an absolute genius. So a basic assistant is pretty good. It searches by general meaning, but sometimes that's not enough and it can miss some really important details. An advanced assistant, on the other hand, uses multiple, much more sophisticated search methods to get way higher accuracy.
This is what takes your system from a cool demo to a tool people can actually rely on. Three of the most powerful advanced techniques out there are hybrid search, re-ranking, and something called knowledge graphs. Each one gives our little assistant a new skill to find exactly the right piece of information at the right time. Hybrid search basically gives our assistant the best of both worlds. It can search for general meaning, but it can also do a good old-fashioned keyword search. And this is so important for catching those really precise terms, like product codes, customer IDs, or specific names that a pure meaning-based search might just gloss over. And then you have the top tier, the knowledge graph. This is next level. It doesn't just see documents as individual things, it actually understands the relationships between them. So it could tell you not just what was discussed in a meeting, but it could connect that to the project it was for, the client involved, and all the recent support tickets from that client. This is what lets the AI answer incredibly complex questions that require connecting a lot of dots. Okay, I know we've covered a lot of technical ground here, from building libraries to training genius assistants. But let's bring this all back home. Why does any of this actually matter for your business? What's the real-world impact?
Well, here's the payoff. This whole system drastically reduces AI hallucinations, which means you can actually trust the answers. It finally unlocks all the intelligence that's been trapped in your documents for years. It lets you keep your AI's knowledge fresh without having to do constant, expensive retraining. And, maybe most importantly, it lets you enforce your existing security rules, making sure the AI only sees information a user is actually allowed to see. Look, at the end of the day, your company's unique intelligence, its secret sauce, is locked away in its data. So the real question this leaves us with is, are you building the systems you need to finally unlock it and put all that intelligence to work?